Good morning, everybody. Good to see you today. The music today was really, had so much depth, right? I felt really connected with these songs, but since they were playing them with so much depth, I actually had like 3 false starts this morning. So I was the guy starting out a word, and then they started a minute later. And I'm glad I didn't do too loud this time. Sometimes I make that mistake and everybody hears me shouting it out. But it was really beautiful. And it's important to prepare our hearts. You know, when we come to service, we're coming to connect with God, right? We're coming here not just to see nice people, not just to hear something that inspires us for a couple days, but it's really an opportunity for us to connect with God, to come before Him, to connect our hearts to His, and to let our love be His love. Let our spirit be connected to His spirit. So it's important when we come here to take that time to worship. And so I'm really grateful for the band. I'm grateful for all of you that we can start this morning with this. This is a spirit-filled month, actually, right? This is October, and we're getting into this. We heard on the radio last week that we're expecting to start getting fall weather this week, right? So they said, yeah, it's not going to be more than 90 degrees at all this week. And I was like, yeah, all right. But we had fun. We went out to the Escatapa River. So I guess it was a place where Josh Cotter liked to always rent canoes with the kids before sunshine, paddle, and canoe. So we found out you could go swimming right there under the bridge. So we took the kids out and walked around for a while. And it was just really nice. And then we bumped into Joe and Jane after, because it got really late. We were there way too late. And it was out kind of in the middle of nowhere. So we found this small restaurant out there because we needed the restrooms to change and stuff. And then Jane and Joe walked in a few minutes later. And we talked about Josh Cotter going out there and everybody canoeing. So it's kind of cool to connect that at I guess this is still, we're in October, but still the end of summer. Maybe the beginning of fall sometime. But, you know, just making these connections and seeing, you know, history and perhaps connecting together. But we're getting ready for fall, right? And so this month we're going to talk about Spirit-filled. We're going to talk about our spiritual lives, but also the spirit world all around us. So without further ado. Reverend Boone said, we live in this world, but it is not everything. There is the spirit world. Then what is the place we are to go and live after we die? Oh, go to and live in. Making up words here. It is the eternal spirit world filled with the air of love. Our physical life is a time of preparation for the life in the eternal world of spirit. These words are so beautiful to remind ourselves about what the life we're living on is a preparation for living in that world of love, where we breathe in and breathe out love, where when we relate and communicate with others, it's on waves of love. Our spirits resonate on that wavelength of love. We see ourselves as physical beings, and it's hard to imagine because we're used to communicating with the words and choosing which words are going to come out, even if we're feeling something else, right? But in the spirit world, it's that vibration is not even our words that we're choosing. It's that connection of love that we resonate with, that we connect, that we interact with one another with. So this time on earth is a time of spiritual preparation, a time to develop ourselves into the truest self it can be. We are not just physical, but we are spiritual. In 1 Corinthians, it says, the first man, Adam, became a living being. The last Adam, a life-giving spirit. The spiritual did not come first, but the natural. After that, the spiritual. This physical realm was created in preparation for the spiritual. That the physical, the vehicle for our spirits to grow was created. And then it was infused with a spirit that would guide it, drive it, and move it forward. And so as we're living our lives, we have to be careful not to forget that we're not physical people that have spiritual experiences, but we're spiritual beings having physical experiences. We're going through this life, right, to experience, to see, to touch, to connect, and to grow this spirit that goes on beyond our time here on earth. This is the month of Halloween, right? It's a spooky time. It's a time when people talk about spiritual things, about the spirit world, where they joke about it, where they laugh about it, where they watch movies about it. It's a time when people do talk about ghosts, but we've commercialized it and made it into this fun or scary thing. It's something that everybody talks about, but few people actually believe, right? Even in religious circles, right? They don't do Halloween, they do Fall Fest, Harvest Fest. Because to interact with this spirit stuff, there's maybe some kind of voodoo craft or something. The spirit world is something either to be afraid of and don't talk, it's taboo, or it's something to make a mockery of. As if it doesn't really exist, as if there's not really ghosts and spirits and angels and demons. So we like to dress up and make a joke of it. Or we watch movies like The Exorcist and Poltergeist, and we imagine about that possession, you know. But it's not something tangible. It's not something real to most people. And we're afraid, many churches are afraid to talk about it, especially in the West. You know, Halloween comes from hallowed evening. It's this time when many people in the past believed that their ancestors could cross between the physical and spiritual world. It was actually a sacred time, a holy time. The idea of wearing masks was to ward off the evil spirits that might also come in, because they were trying to just embrace their good ancestors and their good spirit world. In Ireland, this was a big deal, right? And then it became part of the world. But through many religious groups, it kind of became maybe this fear that the evil spirits would come in, so let's just not acknowledge it at all. Let's just push it away. Actually, the day after Halloween is All Saints' Day, right? It's a celebration of all the good saints and sages, all those that came before, that they can connect with us here on the physical world. So there is precedence for us acknowledging spirit world, but many times we fear it or we joke about it because we don't really understand it. Don't they always say, what you don't know or don't understand, you fear? And so that's what's been made of the spirit world, because we don't understand it, we don't connect with it. So boom, it's Halloween. This is what ghosts look like to most people. There's something with a sheet with the eyes cut out. It's something like this. Because most people want to say there's a physical reality, something I can see, feel, and touch, something I can understand, something I can decipher, something I can experiment on, I can analyze, I can see physical. So I can trust it, I can know it. But spiritual is something that's so hard to measure. So instead of really connecting and talking about it, even looking at our own selves and talking about it, it's something we just avoid. So this month we wanted to jump into it, to talk about it, to explain it, to understand it, to start to look into what it means for our lives and what God was doing when He created this whole thing. So in the beginning there was light, right? God said, let there be light. There was this moment, right, when there was nothing. The universe was void, it was blank. There was not one star, there was not one particle, there was nothing. And they go back and they look and they go, there was nothing. And how did all this come out of nothing? And scientists keep trying to figure it out, and they say, well, maybe another universe got absorbed and then it came out. And I go, well, then there is something, right? Every explanation tries to figure out how nothing, and then suddenly, boom, this moment of a flash, of a bright light, of an energy, spreading forth all the necessary elements of life. Sounds like the Genesis account, right? In the beginning, there was nothing, just God. And then He said, let there be light. Through the universe, all the energy that was ever necessary was contained. They say everything that was necessary for life was contained in that single moment. Every one of us was contained in that single moment of that energy, that little ball, right, of whatever, right? And then it bursts out, right? So what is this light? What is this energy, right? We know, we call it God, right? We call it our heavenly parent. We know that God created all these things. And so boom, it comes out and it starts setting off into this universe all the steps, all the necessary processes to make life here on earth a reality. And God did it with a clear purpose in mind. He was thinking about his children. So everything in the universe, according to the divine principle, is made in pattern of the human being. Right? So God had that end goal in mind. He said, this is what I'm creating. These are my children. They're going to be made in my likeness. They're going to have these lungs. They're going to have this heart. They're going to have this brain. They're going to be able to do this and that. They're going to look like this. And then God said, okay, let's break it all down. And then he created in that pattern, so that we would have everything, contain everything, and be able to connect with everything. God's desire was that every element of the universe would be inside of us, physical and spiritual, so that we could govern it together with God, that we could connect the physical reality with the spiritual reality. God created us, and in that moment, all those years ago, God thought of us in that preparation. So God flung it out with us as a design. And he started with these little particles, right? Little this energy. Even they go down and down and down, and they keep trying to decipher it. And each part you can break apart and break apart. And it looks like it's just a series of relationships between energy. Somehow everything in the universe is drawn together, is looking for relationship, is looking for connection. And these particles start forming relationships, and they create atoms, and these atoms start growing into molecules, and they develop and develop, always seeking to grow, always seeking to multiply, always seeking action, always seeking to give life. God's energy, from that single moment, just forced out his energy, his life, his love into the universe, bringing all things back together, separating them and bringing them back together, and multiplying and bringing it back together. This is amazing, complex interaction that God set in motion with us in mind. And these molecules eventually form cells, right? And these little cells, these little tiny cells started growing and multiplying, and then, step by step, right? God used the process of growth, his own principles of creation, to create all life here on earth. And the trees, and God, when you look at Genesis, you see all these steps laid out, and then he creates all the plants, right? That would give us the oxygen, that would give us the environment necessary for life. And then finally he creates animals, right? These animals that, cute and cuddly and all sorts of different things. God created all these different steps. And when God felt like the environment is ready, the room is ready, my nursery is ready, now let's bring in my family. He finally created man in his image. Male and female, God created them. God created us to reflect God and to be the rulers of creation, to be the owners of the universe. That we would be God's counterparts here on earth. That we be the intercessors, the mediators, the relators, right? To caretake, to bring glory, to bring joy, to bring multiplication and life to this universe. That God put us as the center, as a reflection of everything, but we stand in an image of God the Creator. And so here we are, right? And many people stop here. They go, okay, there's this multiplication of life, and there's animals, and then there's apes and stuff, and then there's humans, and they go, okay, that was it, right? So we're no different. They even say like a banana is like 98% the same DNA as a human. Some weird thing like that. You can check with Brian probably about that later. He's my fact checker. But it's amazing, right? There's such a small difference between us and other life forms genetically, right? Like every part of creation is inside of us, right? That's what we read about in the principle, right? The gold and silver, all the minerals, everything, there's some trace elements within us. God built us with all those building blocks. He worked meticulously to make sure everything interacted properly. That the channels were there, that the process was there. That when his beloved children came about, they would be perfect. So physically, we resemble a lot of creation. People say we're no more, no less than any other animal, right? But there is a difference, right? Not all flesh is the same. People have one kind of flesh. Animals have another, birds another, and fish another. But there are also heavenly bodies and there are earthly bodies. But the splendor of the heavenly body is one kind, and the splendor of the earthly body is another. There's all kinds of bodies, right? There's all these physical bodies. There's all these animals scurrying around. There's all these beautiful trees. There's all the fish in the seas. There's all the birds in the sky. Beautiful, wonderful creation. And then there's man. And it says there's physical bodies and there's a heavenly body. We were endowed with something different, something unique, something not of this physical world, not just material, not just the dirt, but something else. We're given God's Spirit, God's life, God's vision, God's creativity, God's love, God's compassion. This is what separates us and puts us in a position to relate with God as our heavenly parent, but also all of creation. In a way, as creation's parent, as creation's true owners, as creation's lovers, right? As the ones that would bring it to its fruition. Co-create with God. How beautiful it is, and how often do we ourselves, right, get stuck just in the material concerns, right? Our physical body is always kind of winning over many times, right? Our desire to move forward, we want to do something, but we have ailments, and we have physical needs, and we have all these things that weigh over us. We have financial needs, but we also have sicknesses and illness, and sometimes it holds us back, right? So we have these two bodies, and we need to realize, right, that the spiritual body is also in need of care. The spiritual body has needs just like our physical body, even though we don't see them, feel them, touch them as much. It's still very much present, and it still very much has an effect on us. So when Adam was born, right, out of the dust he was made, and then we'll read this real quick. God formed man out of the dirt from the ground and blew into his nostrils the breath of life. The man came alive, a living soul. How amazing that is. And look at this. Look. Just another creation like anything else, but then God breathes his life, his love, his energy, his hopes, his dreams, his desires into this little creature and says, this is my beloved child. Made in my image. Made to reflect me to this universe. Made to love this universe for me. What wonderful and amazing things this child can do. This separation of us from everything else so that we can relate with God, our parent, we can relate with this world. How beautiful and exciting this is. So we aren't just physical, but we're spiritual as well. We have this physical body, this tangible, material body, this form that we can touch. But there's also the spirit, which is just as real. Which is just as tangible, just not in our own eyes right now. It has its same needs, it's got its same desires, it's got all these hopes and dreams. What it could do, of the relationships it could build, the love it could know. We have two bodies. And they both need nourishment, right? It's easy to think about how our physical body grows. Hey, we eat good food, we get good energy, right? Put in good, out comes good. We exercise, we stay fit, We rest enough. We take the right medications if we need it. You know, we do these things to take care of our body, and it grows. Just like everything else in creation, you give a baby food and give it time, and he's going to grow, and he will learn how to walk, and he will learn how to talk, and he will learn all these physical capabilities. And when he's 13 years old, those first hairs on his chest, my son was so excited thinking about that the other day. Wow, I'm going to have hair on my, he kept saying, I'm going to have hair on my belly button. You know, how exciting, you know, that he knows he's going to grow and develop. Our bodies grow, our bodies mature. But then we have this spiritual self too that needs nutrients, that requires energy so that it can grow as well. Some of these come naturally, right? Like the air and sun that helps a person or a plant grow, the water that covers the earth. God's love, God's inspiration, God's connection to each one of us. A kind word from someone else, a song that you hear. God is all around us, all the time, speaking into our lives, reaching out to us, trying to help us grow. God is pouring His love out to you, and we can readily receive that at any time. God's love is always reaching into us, saying, my child, you can do this. My child, I forgive you. My child, here's some grace. My child, here's a hand. My child, let's go. Let's do this. Puts in these dreams and ideas in our head that seem impossible. I was listening on the radio the other day. They said that there was this missionary in China. He said there's 3 stages of doing anything in life. First stage is the impossible stage. Can't be done. Second stage is the difficult stage. Okay, I'm moving, I'm making progress, but this is really hard. And then the third stage is it's done. Oh, I can do this. So our spirits are going through that, and God is encouraging us, and God says, this is who I see you being, this is your potential, this is my vision for your life. And we look at it and we go, well, me? Who, me? God is there encouraging us, picking us up when we fall down, encouraging us and telling us, keep going, it's just over that bend, it's just a little bit further. This is life elements. God pours over all the universe, all the world, encouraging us to relate with others, encouraging us to get out of our shell, encouraging us to do good acts. Telling us, go make that relationship, go make that phone call, go make that interaction. And then our bodies, they say, oh, wow, that's a big test, but you know what? I'm going to try it out. I'm going to try and live out this inspiration. I'm going to try and love my neighbor. I'm going to try and share this breaking news of God's work in this world. I'm going to try and encourage someone else. I'm going to be there to listen when someone else is suffering and down. I'm going to be that encouraging word that God's been to me. I'm going to give them a hand. And suddenly, as we go out and we act on the inspirations God gives us, as we act on the love and inspiration God has shown to us, we suddenly start feeling this flood of energy. Our spirit is we're receiving vitality elements. We do good, and a source of love, of inspiration floods back over us, saying, good job, good job. And we have encouragement, and our spirit starts to grow, and it develops some new muscles. It develops a new ability. It says, wow, that was impossible last week, but now I've done it. We take these spiritual steps, right? And we give that nourishment to our soul, that it's not just, hey, I heard a nice word on Sunday and it was inspiring to me and I felt really good, but then I lived it out. And now look, my character is a little different. My ability to love is expanding. My compassion for another has grown. It's not just an idea that God is a parent and God's love is unconditional, but now I'm feeling that. I'm seeing it. It's being revealed in my actions. So we receive those vitality elements, and it excites us, and we get these life-giving elements, these things that encourage us, that heal us, that nurture our soul, that help our physical body keep going forward so we can do it again. So God has this whole process where He says, this is what I want you to do. This is where you can go. I love you. You can do it. And then we do it. And then we get energy from doing it. And then we can do it some more. We are created in a unique way that our growth is not just something that naturally happens, but that we can have influence over. We are free to grow to the highest heights. We're free to love in the freest ways. God gave us all that ability. Our potential is limitless. But we need to invest ourselves on that inspiration that God gives us. We need to follow through with that love and inspiration that God gives us. We read God's Word, and it gives us a direction. It gives us parameters for living our life. It shows us how to restore a relationship. It shows us how to love our brother or sister. It shows us how we should treat our wife. It shows us how we should attend our parents. And then we live that out day and day and day, right? And we start to notice a transformation in ourselves. That I'm no longer who I was before. And it happens step by step. It happens in incremental stages. It doesn't happen in just a day, right? We don't just wake up one day and go, I'm going to be a great person. I'm going to be a saint. I'm going to do everything God wants me to do. But it's step by step. It's like a diet. It's step by step. It's over days, over months, over years. We need to remember this part. This is a big part, because a lot of times we say, hey, I'm going to do good today. I'm going to start a new way of life. And then we fail that first day, or we don't make it all the way. We go, okay, that's not for me. But God works in stages. God's universe expanded from that little burst of energy. And all that time period, the end goal remained the same. But it took time. And your spirit, your soul, it takes time to take those steps. But God's going to be there next to you, encouraging your soul, saying, you can do this, you can do this. I believe in you. Love is just around the corner. A relationship is coming to you. That goal, that dream you had is almost here. A little bit further, a little bit further. And keep acting on it in little steps. And we receive that spiritual growth. Remember, this isn't just a physical life. We're not just living in the physical material realm, but we are living as spiritual beings. Our capacity to create, to imagine, to design, to multiply is not limited to the physical parameters. So touch into that relationship with God. Touch into that relationship with who you truly are deep inside. Don't get stuck just with our physical self, but realize that our spirit needs growth too. Yes, our bills need to be paid, and yes, maintenance needs to be done, but take time for our spiritual growth as well. And you'd be amazed that doing something spiritual, praying, meditating, acting good for others has a tremendous effect on your well-being. There's a transformation that happens as well. Reverend Moon said, you shouldn't forget that while you lived as an embryo, you not only received nutrition from your mother, but you also received love from her. Likewise, people living on earth are not only receiving physical nutrition from the universe, but also love from God, who is the essential element of life. So yes, we need food, yes, we need water, but man does not live by bread alone, right? By the love of God, by acting out God's love and word in this day-to-day life. And so when we receive that, we have the essential element of life, the thing that keeps us from depression, that keeps us from loneliness, that keeps us from being separated. When we connect with God's energy, relationships are the natural occurrence. When we connect to the spirit of the universe, the energy of the universe, relationships and multiplication and action and life is a natural occurrence. It's a life-giving element. God's love is that inspiration, but it's also the energy necessary for us to move forward. So next time you're kind of in a rut, you're trying to figure out what to do next in life, take some time. Talk to God. Meditate on God's Word. And act in someone else's favor. Live for someone else. Do something for someone else. Doors will start to open. Paths will be made clear. Your eyes won't be covered anymore, but they will be open to the realities of life. And finally, in Ezekiel 36:26, I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit in you. I will remove from you your heart of stone, give you a heart of flesh. So a new spirit comes into us, a new inspiration, a new encouragement. Our souls at one point were stagnated, but when we receive the Messiah, we receive this new soul, this new life, this new energy. Our hearts that were stone, that were incapable of compassion, of feeling, of true love, suddenly become feeling, giving, physical things that can be felt. Not just an idea, but an energy and an interaction. So, brothers and sisters, as we go forward, remember that this month, as everybody, when you go past the Spirit of Halloween shop, where you see some decorations, use it as a reminder that we're living in two worlds. That's not just a joke. It's not just Hollywood. It's not just something fun to do. But, hey, I have a spirit. When you drive by those decorations, say, hey, God, what do you want my spirit to know today? How do you want my spirit to grow today? This can be a reminder for us. This can be an inspiration for us to remember that what really matters, the thing that's going to last long after this body's dead and gone, is our spirit. That's what matters. So live in love. Give love. Receive love. And let your spirit grow. Let's join. Beloved Heavenly Parent, we just thank you for this life you have given to us. God, the seed that you planted inside of our hearts, God, that draws us towards goodness, that draws us towards a fulfilled life. God, you have designed us in such a way that we can feel and experience this world in a way that you could only wish to. But God, as we grow our spirits and grow in connection with you, God, you can finally see it and feel it and touch it. God, we are your conduits here on earth. God, you have blessed us so much. Each person in this room has had rich experiences in life, interactions beyond themselves. God, I pray that you can be with our community here. God, that we can be such a spiritually rich community. That our souls, our hearts can be set on fire by your love, God. That we can be ignited to be truth givers, to speak love and compassion into people's lives. That we can help other people realize the spiritual reality. God, we want to live together with you each day of our life. We know that that's where the blessing is. That's where the joy is. Let us work on our hearts. Let us work on our minds. Let us work on our spirits this week. God, let us be drawn to your word and be convicted by it and be sanctified in it and become your true sons and daughters, those that are mature in heart, that understand the parent's heart and can live it out in our daily life. God, I pray also your healing, your physical support for our brothers and sisters that can't be here today, for those that are going through something right now. God, as a community, we want to lift up our brothers and sisters. We want your healing to be in their life. We want your inspiration to be with them. God, we want to also pray for those that are spiritually sick. Or God, maybe not even realizing that you exist, God. We want to be those that can shine that light into their life, God, and help them see your reality, God. And I pray for all the brothers and sisters here gathered that came here to connect with you, to receive you. God, I pray that the word that you need to speak into their life was spoken today, God, that inspiration they needed is here for them. And that your love can grow and grow inside of their hearts. God, we thank you. We offer this Sunday to you. We offer our worship and our attendance today to you. I pray this in all of our names gathered here, God, your holy children here. And in your holy name, God, I pray this. Amen. Not you.